Hey, what's up guys? It's Jesus here with the Vambros, and today we're going to be doing another Throwback Thursday deck profile for you guys today. And it's Gurgit, one of my faves from G Era. Honestly, I think it was the second deck I ever built outside of Gold Paladin. Do you guys remember when they first released that $5, or not a $5, but that start deck that came with like I think 2 regular perfect guards, which was crazy back in the day. You never really got perfect guards in trial decks. And then like you had like the really cool like stride. Oh, God, what was it? Scourge Point or something like that. But the artwork that they did for Gurgit back in the day was just, it really caught my eye. I really liked the design of Gurgit and his units, so I built the deck. And from there, it's just, you know, Gurgit's always been like my second favorite unit in all of Vanguard. First being Blaster Blade, but yeah, Gurgit has to be like the second favorite in terms of like units for Cardfight Vanguard. You know, so to not go too crazy, these are just G Era decks. They're not G Boot, they're not D Premium, they're just regular old decks that I would have played back in GBT 14 or the last G set that came out. No premium, no nothing. So we're gonna start with the starter, Coel. So Coel is honestly the only good starter that Gold Paladin ever got, and it's still not even that good. Coel is a Forerunner that has a Act GB1, which triggers if you activate Unite, which is when you call 2 or more units to rear or guardian circle. You put the unit into the soul, look at the top 3 cards of the deck, call 1, and then put the, shuffle the deck, which is insane. So the thing is, like, it also gets +2. But the cool thing that Coel does is that it shuffles the deck. With Gold Paladin's playstyle was look at the top, however many or so cards, usually top 3, call 1, put the rest of the bottom in any order. And so the main issue that you would hit is if you sequence it incorrectly. You do Coel first. A lot of people like shotgunning Coel after doing their stride skill, and then they tend to do the rest of the skills. But the problem is when, outside of a 1 or 2 triggers, if you look at the top 3 and you don't find anything that can extend your plays, you may be calling a normal unit, out to the field, but you're probably shoving 2 triggers to the bottom of the deck, and so that means less triggers to check. Shuffling the deck helps randomize it again, helps put the trigger star in the bottom, back up to the top hopefully, if not in the middle so you can see them later on. But yeah, Coel is a good starter, gives a unit 2k, so not bad, not great, just there. So because this is post GBT 13, we are going to run 4 copies of what I would consider back in the day as good Gurgit, which is crazy to say, good Gurgit, which, with set 12 Gurgit from V in mind. But he had 2 skills, a continuous GB2 Unite, that all of your rear guards gained intercept, and they also gained the red tech skill that they could intercept from the back row. Is it as good as the original GB2 from the first Gurgit that came out? I don't know. The fact that it's a GB2, you have to activate Unite, so you already have to have guarded twice from hand. Makes it a tough card to kind of gauge. It helps if you call a perfect guard and the perfect guard doesn't have the weird wording that it has to be placed, but just put. But yeah, it's funny because Gurgit, whenever it came out, it would always clash with the perfect guards that were released at the time. Like when the original Gurgit came out, you couldn't really look or do his gamble like GB2. I think it was a Counterblast, Soul Blast to look at the top 4 and call 1 to Guardian Circle, which you could kind of bypass some guard restricts. But the other skill that this guy has is Counterblast, Soul Blast. When you stride, you can pay the cost. If you do, look at the top 4, call a card to rear, shuffle, and if you call the unit with a Unite ability, look at the top card of the deck and call it to rear as rest, which in like just with a counterblast, soul blast, you activate your unite skill, because more often than not, you're gonna call a card with unite, and you're calling it as rest, which kind of blows. But you know, we run cards to stop that. Your next ride target, peep the fucking cards, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, I'm not doing it justice, but yeah, this is like, God, my heart sank when I bought these two fucking cards like years ago. Was it years? Yeah, it must have been years ago. But let's try to get the glare off of this boy. So this is what I considered back in the day as bad Gurgit. Had two skills, an auto skill, GB2. At the beginning of the guard step of the battle, this unit was attacked. Counter blast, soul blast, look at the top four. Choose up to one card from among them, call it to Guardian, and shuffle the deck. The cool thing is that because, you know, it's not once per turn, if your opponent was swinging at you and you had enough resources but not enough cards in hand, you could technically do his skill for each attack, which is cool. He has a stride skill of CB1. Look at the top four. Choose up to one card from among them, call it to rear, and give it 2k until the end of turn, and then shuffle the deck. So I like him because at least he gives power to the unit that he calls, although he only calls one. So there's that. Then we have Militant Act Dragon. Militant Act Dragon is a really cool card because he is both a rear guard and a vanguard. He has a skill of when you would stride, or when your G unit strides, you may pay the cost, which is a counter blast. Put all of the cards in your other circles other than Vanguard to the bottom of the deck, and if you put one or more, look at the top three cards, call up to two, and to separate rear circles, put the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. The reason why this card is cool is because if you were going up against Lock, this is the card that unlocked it, because if you saw them if you saw like a Messiah or a Chaos Breaker starter, this is the card that you're putting on your Vanguard circle so that you could unlock your like field. The cool thing is this guy also works on rear circle too. So if you had any rear guards that had any sort of like issues, like, or any sort of like effects that prevented from standing or prevent them from attacking or anything, you could do his skill as well off of rear guard circle. So it's cool that this is a rear guard that has a stride skill and doesn't need to be a vanguard to stride. So very cool. Over to grade 2s, I run 4 copies of the of Canarius. Canarius is really cool. I really like his art too. Honestly, I love the artwork for all of these because they have technically like this steampunk look, but not really because it's not Gear Chronicle. But the armor's bronze, or like I think it's supposed to be gold, but this shit looks bronze as hell. But yeah, he's got a continuous unite skill that if you have a Gurgit Vanguard, he gets 4k, so he's attacking for 13, which is really, really good. He has a GB1 skill where you choose a card from hand, discard it when he's placed. Look at the top 3, call it to rear, and put the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. So this guy's cool because you can pretty much just start going off on your plays. The thing I like about this guy is that if you go first, at the very least, he is a 13k attacker, which kind of helps with offense. But this deck really does not want to go first. Then we run 4 copies of Henrinus. Henrinus is cool. He's got one skill that's a GB1 counter blast, soul blast when it's placed. You may look at the top 3 cards of the deck, search for one among them, call it to rear, put the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. If you have a Gurgit Vanguard, the unit that you called gets 3k until end of turn. So it's also really cool because the fact that he gains power, honestly, if you do Gurgit, call Henrinus, call Canarius, it's actually a pretty decent way to spread power throughout the field. So we run 4 copies of him. It stinks that a lot of these cards are limited, or they're kind of like, they're kind of like locked behind Generation Break, so they're technically vanillas. But honestly that's the worst part about Generation Break. Honestly, this card's not that good. I just run it because I love the artwork for it, and it's honestly not too bad. It's a unit with resist. She has 8k power, and she has the unite skill to go into the soul. And at the end of each turn, you may pay the cost to countercharge. So she supplies soul as well as helps you countercharge, which is cool because it kind of helps fund the defensive skills for Gurgit. So she's not awful. Honestly, there's better options though, so you could run better options. 4 Stride Father searches your Gurgit, so not too bad. Really like this card. You can use this to search the better Gurgit or whichever Gurgit you're missing. But honestly, it's just a Stride Father. It's not like the V ones. I'll say that. This card's crazy. It's so funny. I played this deck back in the day, but not as often as I did my blasters. And so I never really appreciated this card for what it really was. It's got 2 skills. The first one is a continuous that if you have a Vanguard with the Unite ability, it gets resist. But it also has an axe skill, GB1 Unite, rest this unit. Choose one of your units and it gets 4,000 power. And if you have a Vanguard with Gurgit, choose one of your rearguards with a different card name as the unit that, as this unit. And you may put it at the bottom of the deck. If you do, draw a card and soul charge or counter charge 1. So it's great because if you have triggers in hand, like heal triggers, you can put them back, or not even heals, but crits. You can put them back into the deck, which is really nice. If you sequence it correctly, if you save Coel for last, then you can shuffle that deck too after putting cards back. I remember this guy, like, at some point during Premium, it got fucking banned because you could do a loop, which, I mean, it makes sense, but it wasn't banned back in the day during G, so I'm running it. And then the last 2 cards we're running are Horza. I might bump up Horza and drop Jeffrey, which is coming up. But he's got the Unite skill that when your other unit is placed on rear, choose one of your other units in the same column and it gets 2,000 power. So if you have this guy at the beginning of the turn and you start doing all your call shenanigans, he's just beefing up whatever unit that is in front of him. And I believe that it's just unit. So if you have it behind your Vanguard, you're sailing. Then we run 2 copies of Jeffrey. Jeffrey is not as good as his V counterpart, but he has the Unite skill that when you put him into the soul at the end of the battle, that it boosts to draw a card. So it supplies soul as well as lets you draw at the end. So not bad, but it could be better. Then we run 2 copies of Lavinia and 2 copies of Alessia. So honestly, after playing some games, I think Lavinia beats out Alessia by a long shot. Like, so what they do, Alessia, what she does is that she has the regular PG skill. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost if you choose one of your Vanguards that's being attacked, and it cannot be hit until the end of that battle. And she has the Unite skill. Choose one of your rear guards and put it to the bottom of the deck. When this unit is placed on Guardian, you may pay the cost. If you do, it gets 15k. So it's not bad because not only does she have a regular PG skill, but if you don't have a card to discard, you can at the very least put back a rear guard to get 15k shield if you've already triggered Unite. And she also works off of Gurgit's, or the new Gurgit's intercept skill. She also works off of the original Gurgit skill because she can be placed to PG from anywhere. It doesn't have to be from hand, which makes it even better. But Lavinia is really good because she has 2 skills. She has the regular PG skill, except this one is when it's placed on Guardian Circle from hand. So she does not work with the original Gurgit. So if you look at the top 4 and you see her instead of her, you're kind of out of luck. You can't call her. But her GB1 skill is really good, where you choose one of your other rear guards, put it to the bottom of the deck, and when this unit is placed on rear from your deck, you may pay the cost. If you do, at the end of the turn, it goes back to hand. So while you're doing your calls, and you find her, call her over to the field. Put whatever, you could put one of the rested units from OG Gurgit back to the deck, and at the end of the turn you got yourself a PG. So pretty good. Honestly, these both are great. It's just that I think just being able to add a PG from deck to hand and still being able to use it for boost is a lot better than her being able to work off of a gamble. So You know, those are the options. These should be the counter charge and soul charge heals. I don't know where they're at. I think they're in my Liberator deck. This is a bit janky. I run 6 fronts. Or no, not fronts. Oh my god. I run 6 stand triggers. I don't think I'm going to continue to run 6 stands because this is the type of greed that they were talking about in the Bible. So, what each of these stands does, if catch call is placed on rear from deck, you may look at the top 3 by putting it to the bottom of the deck. And calling another unit except for catch call Liberator. So he's good because he extends your plays, as well as if you have that G1 in the back that gives 2k to anything that's called. This is pretty much a 4k on its own. And then you also have Gigantic Ringer, where you can put him at the top of the deck when your other unit is placed on rear, and then shuffle and draw, and that that unit gets 5k. Which is cool because one, it shuffles the deck, you draw a card, and when the unit you called shows up on the field, unit gets an extra 5k. You have Jerry, he has 2 skills, a counter or a continuous unite skill that he gets an extra 3,000 power on rear guard. So 7k booster, which is not bad. But then he also gets the red text skill that at the end of battle that it attacked or boosted, it goes into the soul and countercharges 1. The reason that there are a lot of units that countercharge and go into the soul is because of one of Luard's first Stride evolutions, which I was a big fan of back in the day. Not a great card, not a good card, but really cool. We run 4 copies of the Luard, or not the Luard, but the Gurgit crit, and 2 copies of Flame of Victory. We're dropping Jerry, adding 2 Flame of Victory, and we also just may as well drop the 2 catch call for whatever other critical we can run. Or we may just leave it 2 catch, 2 gigantic. But yeah, that's the main deck. For the G Zone, we run 1 copy of the Sunrise Ray Radiant Sword Gurgit. Awesome card. Act GB2, Unite, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 2. This unit gets 5k for each of your rear guards until the end of the turn. And then you choose 5 rear guards and they get 5k power. The cool thing about it is that he's not once per turn. So the reason why you're countercharging a ton and you're putting cards into the soul is so that you can kind of beef up your field and then make him huge. The problem, you swing for a big number, they're just gonna perfect guard it. He doesn't have any sort of like guard restrict, or any sort of like pressure that he adds. Like he doesn't gain a critical. He doesn't, if he was like gaining a crit as well, he'd be cool, or like he'd be like a pretty fucking crazy card. Because if you could try to sort of loop that, like that would be kind of devastating. Because you could kind of leave your opponent at 0 damage, but Gold Paladin is not a deck that kind of works that way. So yeah, he's just there because he looks cool, but he exists. And now let's talk about good cards. So we have 4 copies of Holy Sword Heavenly Law Gurgit. He has the axe skill, Counter Blast 1, choose a face down card with the same name as this unit, turn it face up, and choose a card from your hand and discard it. And until the end of the turn, it gets the red text auto skill of when it attacks, you look at the top 7, call a card from among them to rear, and shuffle the deck. And the continuous skill, all of your units get 2,000 power for each face of Gurgit in your G Zone. So the more that you stride this guy, the more that you stride the next guy. If you stride the other guy, they just get more beefier, and he is the way to get multi-attack going in Gurgit. So really cool. After that, we run 4 copies of the insane Gurgit Helios, who has 2 skills. First, the axe skill of, once per turn, unite. Choose a face down card with the same name as this unit. and it gets drive +1. Very simple. Persona flip, drive +1. GB3, this unit gets 5k for each of your rear guards, and your opponent can now call grade 1 or greater cards from hand during the battle that this unit attacked. So they can still G guard, but they cannot call from hand. But, you know, back in the day, that actually meant something. Whereas nowadays, you know, you have grade 0 PG, so this guy doesn't really mean shit. But if we're playing G, he's still pretty solid. Then we run 2 copies of Glorious Reigning Dragon. It's got a Unite skill, counter +1. Choose a face down card with Golden Dragon, Glorious Reigning Dragon from your G zone. Turn it face up. Choose 2 rear guards, put them to the bottom of the deck in any order. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, look at the top 7 cards and call up to as many as you have face up in your G zone. To separate rear circles, shuffle the deck, and if you call 3 or more, counter charge and soul charge. Great card. Calls a brand new field, especially if you do it pretty late in the game. We have the GB8. The GB8 is cool. It's got the Unite. When this unit attacks, choose up to 4 of your rear guards, and until the end turn, they get the rear circle or the autos red tech skill. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked or boosted. Look at the top 2 cards of the deck. Call a card from among them to rear. Gets 5k. To the end of turn, put the top card and put a card from among them to the bottom of the deck. So, solid card, but you probably won't really reach it. There's a lot of really good finishers for gold. It's just that they don't have that extra oomph to actually finish the game. 2 Slay Me Flares, which are cool. I like the cards that put units back to the deck because they don't specify normal units, they just say units. So you could put a trigger back to the deck, which is great. Choose one of your rear guards, put it to the bottom of the deck, and when this unit is placed, look at the top 2, or look at the top 5, call up to 2 with different grades, and call them to rear circle and shuffle the deck. So great, solid card. And we run, this is the OG one. When this unit is placed, if you have 2 or more rear guards, it gets 5k shield. It's okay. And then we have the True Liberator of Healing, Elise. GB1, on place, counter +1. Choose a face down G Guardian from your G zone and turn it face up. Look at the top 2 cards, call a card from one of them to Guardian Circle, and it gets, when the attack does not hit, you can move it to rear and put a card from among them to the bottom of the deck. So you look at the top 2, call one to Guardian Circle, and then place the other one to the bottom. That, my friends, is the list. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. If you guys are liking this, that's awesome. I'm actually pre-recording these, so you know, only time will tell how if people enjoy these. But here's one thing I want to show. Listen. You know I gotta do my own sleeves if they don't exist. And I like the artwork of the new Gurgit from 0, and we don't got sleeves of that, so I made my own. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks for sticking around, and hopefully we reach 1k by the end of the year.